Hello everyone, do you ever feel like you can't stop eating, especially the sweet stuff? Well, we all do at one time or the other. Studies show that our brains are wired to crave for sugar and carbs, which makes us even hungrier. Sugar and flour hijack your taste buds and brain chemistry and cause addictions. The more sugary foods we eat, the more you crave. Welcome to my fitness YouTube channel, Fitness with David. I am a 2-hour 38 marathoner and fitness enthusiast. And I hope you have gone through my first YouTube channel on home workouts. If not, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like the content after this, hit the like button. In today's video, we shall discuss nutrition. Nutrition is a key component of our good health and well-being. In fact, it is a key contributor to weight management. 70% of weight management is in nutrition, and exercise at best contributes to 30%. And that's why they say that abs are actually made in the kitchen. Like the famous saying goes, you can't outtrain a bad diet. No amount of burpees, marathon miles will get rid of all the fast foods you eat if you take too much. It is actually easier to not overindulge than to try and burn the calories off. In today's circumstances occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic and on ordinary days for some of us where we have the comfort of cars, public transport in form of matatus, trains, etc., many of our lives are reduced to near sedentary or sedentary lifestyle, which is a lifestyle involving little or no physical activity. While indoors, there is a tendency to keep biting on food. You seated on the couch and you walk to your kitchen, pick up a biscuit. After a few minutes, walk again to the kitchen, pick up some piece of sausage. And this could lead to eventual very high food consumption without one knowing, compounded by the lack of physical exercises. It could actually eventually lead to obesity. And we have seen a lot of videos showing some of, possibility of some of us not being able to leave our doors post the pandemic. And we hope that this situation is not going to be the case for us. My interest in nutrition got heightened some 4 years ago as I trained very hard to go under sub-3 marathon, which is an achievement that a number of marathoners work towards. I kept working very hard, but even with that very hard workout, my weight was not dropping. I was around 75, 76. And then I took a keen interest on diet, and it is then that I realized that I was actually eating more than was required in the name of carbo loading for my runs. So eventually I had to reduce my carbohydrate intake and also the portion of food that I was taking at that time. And that was before I did my first sub-3 attempt. Of course, that doesn't mean that we need to be a certain weight to run, but there is a relationship between the weight that we carry and the performance that we have, because then you're carrying a heavier weight just like you would imagine. That helped, and I was able to move my weight from 75, 76 to where it is now, gravitating between 63 and 65, 66. And I've got a lot of control over that weight. In fact, I can be able to almost manipulate it. My love for chapos made a lot of sense when I stumbled on a quote by one Nassim Nicholas Taleb, when he says that one of the 3 most harmful addictions in the world is heroin, a monthly salary, and carbohydrates. Yes, you heard it right, carbohydrates. Our good famous carbohydrates, chapatis, ugali, mchele. The African diet especially is very carb rich, and that then becomes an issue. Of course, we've got a lot of carbohydrates as well, and calories in fast food, and we shall be looking at that. Having said that, carbs is an important part of a well-balanced diet, and we shall be looking at that. What is a balanced diet? A balanced diet is one that gives your body the nutrients it needs to function correctly. A healthy diet helps to protect against malnutrition in all its forms, as well as non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and cancer. What constitutes a balanced diet? You've got carbohydrates, which give about 45 to 55% of energy. And carbohydrates examples are grains, wheat, maize, rice, potatoes, and fruits also give us carbohydrates. Then we've got proteins, which give us 10 to 35% of calories. They are used for tissue growth and maintenance, and examples are meat, fish, nuts, eggs, soya, and peas. Then we've got fat, which give us 20 to 25% calories. They give us energy as well, just like carbs do, and that this come in the form of nuts, seeds, plant, dairy products, etc. Then we've got fiber, which also give us some amount of carbohydrates as well. They regulate blood sugar levels, bowel function, and bowel health. And these are the examples of these are peas, beans, vegetables, oats, and the likes. Then we've got vitamins and minerals, which are used for metabolism regulation, aiding cell growth, and other biomechanical functions. And mostly our vitamins will come from vegetables, lean meat, nuts, and seeds. Then, of course, we've got one of the key important items in our diet, which is water. It maintains hydration and is available in its pure form as water, or in other beverages like teas and coffees, etc. Having defined what a balanced diet is, there is this the term that we keep hearing all the time, and that is the name calorie. To further understand nutrition, it is important that we understand what a calorie is, who these fellows are. We hear about them, these specific types of food are carrying this quantity of calories. We also see runners discuss the calorie burn in a run. In fact, they are paranoid when their Garmin doesn't read as much calories as they would hope to have burnt. Then there's a lot of discussions. We also have people in the gym, obviously looking at how many calories they burn in 50, 30 burpees, etc. So it's a common term that we commonly use, and it's important that we understand it as we tackle nutrition. The energy we consume and use is measured in a unit called calorie, and a calorie is a way of keeping track of the body's energy benefit. It is defined as the energy required to raise 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree centigrade. So you get 1 kilogram of water, you raise it by 1 degree centigrade, and that the amount of energy used for that is what is 1 calorie. A healthy balance of calories occurs when we put in as much as we burn. So you put in and then you burn as much as you have put in, so you have no excess. If we consistently put more than we burn, the excess is stored as fat and then we gain weight. Of course, on the other hand, if we burn more than we put in, we lose weight. Everything we consume has a calorie count. This is the measure of the amount of energy that it stores in its chemical balance. An average pizza slice will have 272 calories, bread will have 72 calories, and a piece of average size apple will have 52 calories. When we eat any kind of food, energy is released during digestion and then is stored in a form that the body can use in molecules that will eventually release energy to the body. And this energy is used in three ways. Number one, 10% is used for digestion. So 10% of the energy that we get from the food is used to digest other food. 20% is used for physical activity, And surprise, surprise, the highest amount of energy, which is 70%, is used for basic body functions of our organs and tissue. That for me was an eye opener, because I thought that physical activity actually consumes most of the calories that we take in. That function, which is the basic body function, corresponds to what we call the basal metabolic rate. That is the number of calories required for us to survive if we are not eating or moving around. So when you are just lying, not moving, you require 70%, a certain amount of calorie, that is 70% of what you would take to actually remain alive. And that is what is termed as the basal metabolic rate. These are the calories needed for survival. When you add physical activity, which uses 20% of your calories, and digestion, 10%, you arrive at the official guidelines that a person requires each day. And this official guideline is based on a certain average weight, average physical activity, and an average muscle mass. The requirements, of course, will vary according to the level of activity. If you are a guy doing Comrades Marathon or a guy doing a Tour de France, you may need 7,000 to 9,000 calories a day. If you're someone on lockdown, like is the case with many of us with the COVID-19 pandemic, you require a little energy in the day because you're not having a lot of physical activity. Elderly people require less energy calorie counts because they have a slower metabolism, they have less activity. And then pregnant women they require a bit more calories because there's a growth in them, and so they need a bit more calories than the average woman. The calorie count that is considered average for a man is 2,500 calories, and for a woman is 2,000 calories. Why do men require more calories than women? The average man has less body fat and more muscle on their body than the average woman of the same age and weight, and this makes them burn more calories even when they are at rest. Very important to note is that the calorie count on nutrition labels shows how much calories that particular food contains, and is not a reflection on what you will get out of it. So if you've got something that shows 100 calories, it doesn't mean that you will extract 100 calories. There are a number of factors to consider in terms of the extraction. One of them is that some foods require a bit more energy to digest. So for example, fibrous foods, if you take 100 calories of fibrous foods and 100 calories of potato chips, at the end of the day, you will have lesser calories out of the fibrous food. Say, for example, to take a number, say 80 calories, because fibrous foods require a bit more calories to digest, where the potato may give you, for argument's sake, 90 or 95 calories. So you have taken 100 calories of each, or two people have taken 100 calories, 100 calories of fibrous food and 100 calories of potato, but one will end up getting more calories out of the foods because of the nature of the food. And even if we took the same kinds of food, there are also other factors that determine how much the body is able to extract calories out of food. And these factors are enzyme levels, the length of intestines, and the gut bacteria. So we might all take 1,000 calories, and I know many people do say that I eat the same food as so and so, but they don't get fat, and I get fat, etc. So you have to you obviously have to take those into consideration, do some number of experiments, and see how that pans out for you. And then you're able then to find a balance for your kind of food. But before we dive into that balance, I'd like to give some key considerations to take during this period when you're working from home and any other times that we have very minimal physical activities, which for many of us may be a lot of times because of the comforts that we have with cars, public transport, like I mentioned, lifts, etc. So while you're at home during this period, number one, very important, don't miss your meals. And plan your meals so that you eat them well spaced. That is, take breakfast in its right time in the morning, take lunch at lunchtime, and then take dinner. Number two, don't keep taking snacks. I know when we sit at home, even on a normal Sunday, it is very easy for us to walk and go and have some piece of sausage, go back and have some nuts, etc. And before you know it, or without knowing it, you have actually eaten a lot at the end of the day. So also avoid working as you eat, so that you can be able to consciously tell how much you're eating, chew well, etc. And we'll be seeing a bit of that. Try and get about 30 minutes of exercise in a day. Avoid junk food and make water your friend. It is a very important part of nutrition for all of us. How do we find that balance? Very, very key for all of us, eating the right portion. I know this is when we go for meals, for buffet, you see people start off on one end, but by the time they are on the other end, their plate is spilling over with food. So it's very important that we look at the portions. So one of the ways that we look at the portion is the use of what we call a healthy plate. And a healthy plate is a way of dividing your plate into three sections so that you have a section for protein, a section for grains, and which is starch, and a section for vegetables. It's a smart way to eat smarter without weighing or measuring the food. So a rough guide for each meal is that vegetables or salad, you put vegetables and salad in half of your plate. Vegetables are rich in fiber and other nutrients, so they fill you up very fast, so you don't have, by the time you eat them, you feel full, and they help you to avoid overeating. Then proteins, a quarter of the plate. This can be poultry, fish, eggs, beans, etc. And the other quarter, you then put carbohydrates, which can be ugali, chapati, and the likes. Of course, over time, the size of plates have changed, so this may not be a very, very good indicator of a very good guide as to how much food, as to how we should manage our food, because one guy can put food in a 6-inch plate, as you would know, and another person can put the same healthy plate on a piece of on a cutlery that is 13 inches. So you will be saying that you are eating good portions, yet one is eating so much more than the other. So a better guide is actually the use of hands as a serving guide. So generally, as a guide, our hands corresponds to our body size. So bigger people will have a bigger hand, and so they can always take, when I use my hand and someone who is bigger than me or smaller than me uses their hand, then we are surely eating what is right for our body. So a rough guide, high proteins, you eat a palm size serving for women. So that's a palm size for women, and 2 palm size portions for men. This is meat, fish, poultry, and beans. Vegetables and salads, you take a fish size portion for women, and then 2 fish sizes for men. This is carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, etc. Carbs, 1 fish portion for women and 2 for men. I still find 2 a bit too high, so I'll still take 1. And then for high-fat food, such as butter, oils, and nuts, you use the thumbprint as a guide. And this will then help us eat enough food according to our body size. To complete your meal, you can add fruit with breakfast, lunch, or dinner. some healthy fats such as nuts and the likes to complement what you have on the plate. Important to note is that loading up carbs fast makes you take time to fill up. So if you start by eating a lot of carbohydrates, you will take a lot of time to fill up, so you are likely to eat more. Fruits and starchy vegetables like peas have high carbohydrates. So when you have a meal that has those in the menu, use them also. Measure them in together with the carbohydrates. Some proteins like beans also have calories. Also take great note of liquid calories like sodas, juices, and alcohol. They have a very high calorie count, and so they will actually make you end up with a lot of calories. Water and unsweetened green tea are more highly recommended. Some other key considerations to make with food. Number one, cut out processed food and eat whole foods. Focus on vegetables, fruits, and nuts. Use smaller containers. I have some containers that I use for my meals. I carry all my meals to work from breakfast to the last snack that I eat in the day about 4 p.m., which is a fruit. So I'll carry, for example, an egg and some chicken for breakfast. I'll take some meat and a stew, meat as a stew, and a lot of vegetables and a small piece of chapati for lunch. Then I'll take some fruit at about 4 o'clock, and then dinner I'll get back home and eat. So my containers have reduced in size over time, and this has helped to manage weight. Eat a healthy meal but correct portions. Eat breakfast, very, very important. Studies show that it is easier to keep weight stable over time when you eat breakfast. It jumpstarts your metabolism, helping you burn more calories. And it also tells the body that there is enough food in the day, so the body should not conserve food. Remember, the body has been in a sort of starvation mode, in quotes, throughout the night. And if you keep it longer without food, then there's a tendency for the body to imagine there is no food and conserve what is there, and it slows down your metabolism. The calories in the morning stabilize blood sugar and makes you feel fuller and keeps you from overeating. Adding proteins into the diet, proteins like eggs, slows digestion, keeps you full, so you don't have cravings in the day. Try and eat at least 2 hours before bedtime so that you have time to digest. Eat slowly, very key. Your stomach takes about 20 minutes to tell your brain that I'm now full, and you can stop eating. So if you eat very fast, that lag will not be there, and before you know it, you're actually stressing out because of being overfull. Also, eating quickly increases your likelihood of overeating because you don't fill up very fast. It is recommended that you take smaller bites, chew every mouthful at least 5 or 6 times before swallowing. Remember, you are taught in primary, and there's a diagram to that digestion starts in the mouth. Make sure that your digestion does start in the mouth. Moderate or eliminate alcohol. This may not be very popular. This lowers your sugar calories and helps prevent you from overeating. Avoid your trigger foods. Know which foods make you overeat. That's soda or sweet can begin your downward trend towards overeating. So try and avoid it. Get sufficient sleep. When we don't sleep well, the body looks at that as stress and generates a hormone called cortisol that makes us overeat. So that sleep, and also for us to control stress. Track your food. If you're taking bitings, etc., make sure you note them down, because before, when you keep nibbling, then you may not know that you've actually eaten so much at the end of the day. Exercise. Walk a minimum of 30 minutes. Workout ensures that you're burning any extra, the 20% calories in your body, and also having muscle helps to burn calories even at rest. Snack healthy. Snacking on healthy foods helps reduce hunger pangs, and helps also to control the amount of food you take at meal times. Healthy snacks can be apples, pears, homemade smoothies, seeds like pumpkin seeds, etc. Use dinnerware, smaller dinnerware like we talked about. When you go to a restaurant, the portions in restaurants over time on average have gone up 2.5 times larger than the standard servings that were there a while ago. And in some cases, even I'm told 8 times higher. So if you're eating out, ask for half a portion or share the food with a friend if you must, or take some for the next meal. Also try and start all your meals with a glass of water. Drinking a glass of water up to 30 minutes before a meal will naturally aid you in managing your portion. It also makes you feel less hungry. Don't eat straight from packets. When you eat straight from packets, then you don't know at what point you have eaten more than the normal packet you would have eaten had you taken from a smaller packet. Eat your calories from fruits and don't drink them. Most people take juices. Juices have no fiber, so they take you long to fill up, and so you have to take a lot of juice for the same amount of food. But if you eat your fruit, it has fiber and it sticks in your stomach and makes you feel full. Add proteins to all meals, especially breakfast. Proteins take time to digest, and it takes 20 to 30% of their calorie content to digest. So they'll be taking up a bit more of calories that they contain than the carbs, which take up about 5 to 15%. Monitor your weight, especially if you're doing weight loss. Don't get paranoid about it. But if you're on a weight loss regime, then you need to look at it a number of times, and you can monitor it in a number of ways. Through a weighing scale, use of tape measure to measure specific parts of the body, your waist, your arms, etc. You can also use your clothes to tell how much weight you carry. Of course, it needs to be taken at a specific time. The best time is early in the morning, because during the day you will have eaten or you will have worked out. Personally, I can lose as much as 1.5 kilograms of my body weight after a lengthy workout, despite my taking a lot of water in the workout. So it's very, very important. Just to mention nutrition for children as we wind up. The bodies of children are in high gear, growing, developing, and maturing, and various organs are developing. So they have a greater need for energy, water, and oxygen as they go through the growth process. How to provide the child with good nutrition. I know there's a lot of peer pressure for them not to take foods like sweet potatoes and other healthy foods, but you have to take steps to enlighten them on the need to take healthy foods. You could also have some tactics to help them like the food. You could disguise vegetables in stew and sauces, and also always offer one of their favorites so that they can be able to take up whatever else you want with their favorite food. Avoid offering nutrition poor foods simply to get your child to eat. That is not good. Make sure that half of your child's plate is filled with fruits and vegetables. Offer healthy sources of protein such as lean meat, nuts, and eggs, as opposed to processed bacon, sausages, etc. Grill, steam, or boil food instead of frying. Limit access to fast food. Fast food, obviously, we know that we all crave for it. Obviously, the way they are made is such that you almost become dependent on them. But it's important that you limit the access and let them see good examples in you as a parent. Offer milk or water instead of sugary drinks. Control the portions, and like I said, be good examples for them. In conclusion, I want to leave you with these words. I can't control everything in my life, but I can control what I put in my body. Good luck as you take charge of what you put in your body in terms of food. Have a great time.